Tibet's spiritual leader, the Dalai Lama, is in Chicago this morning taking part in a religious symposium. Over the weekend, I sat down with him in Washington, D.C. shortly after his meeting with President Obama. And in our wide-ranging interview, he talked about his conversation with the president and shared his thoughts about the spirit of American resilience. The Dalai Lama says he offered President Obama comfort.
So it is my duty, call him, show my respect. The president says some sort of difficulties. So I want to show one also old friend's face. We really have the feeling of reunion, old friend.
The president is in a fierce struggle with his political opponents over the future of the nation's finances. What is the best way, your best advice, in how to find compromise with those you deeply disagree with?
Naturally, you have some different interests regarding your own different party. But when the nation facing crisis, those different view of political party is secondary. Now this is economic problem. It's not the interest of this party or that party. It's national sort of interest. So must work together.
And to all Americans struggling.
So these current sort of economic difficulties, no reason to discourage American. You must keep your spirit, your determination, and hard work. Through that way, you can overcome these current sort of problems. It may take time, but courage, never discourage. In spite of difficulties, you must keep your self-confidence.
His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and a little later in part 2 of our interview, his thoughts about China, his successor, and going back to Tibet. Tibet's spiritual leader, the Dalai Lama, met President Obama on Saturday, their first sit-down since he decided to step down as political leader of Tibet's government in exile. Just after he met the president, the Dalai Lama talked to us about democracy, China, and one day returning to Tibet. In his 52-year struggle for freedom in Tibet since fleeing China's communist invasion.
Democratic system is the best way. Basically, I believe world belongs to humanity.
The Dalai Lama has made a radical, some say shocking, decision to end Tibet's 4 centuries-old tradition of a religious monarchy, relinquishing all political power.
I deliberately, voluntarily, happily, proudly end that.
Allowing for the first democratically elected prime minister of Tibet in exile.
That night, unusual sleep. So that means I really felt some kind of relief, that kind of thing.
But he is still Tibet's spiritual leader, and at 76, under pressure to find his replacement.
I think this issue we'll discuss. The Dalai Lama's reincarnation, or Dalai Lama's rebirth, or next life. Logically, finally, it is my business, not others' business. My next life. Ultimately, I will decide. No one else.
You're saying that because the Chinese government has forbidden you from reincarnating without permission.
Recently, you see, they have some kind of policy, sort of certain policy, but that's quite ridiculous.
Compounding the problem, the disappearance of this boy, the Panchen Lama. The boy was personally chosen by the Dalai Lama and was supposed to help find his successor. This boy, 6 years old, in 1995, yes, disappeared.
Right.
Kidnapped by China,
yes,
which then chose its own Panchen Lama. You shake your head. So this means this is affecting you. You feel something for this boy.
Oh, yes, of course. The several years or some kind of house arrest, not his mistake. Every week, some people arrest and severe torture.
In Tibet?
In Tibet. Very, very sad. Very sad.
Well, how do you deal with your anger?
anger is the ultimate destroyer of your own peace of mind. Anger never destroys the person who creates your anger. Anger simply destroys your peace of mind.
Still no longer as bound to be diplomatic, he makes some of his most forceful comments about China's future.
A lot of resentment now developing in China proper. So that's, I think, very bad for stability. China, sooner or later, will learn these things. Whole world, turning one direction. China cannot go against that way. Have to go along that trend. That's logical. The voice of openness or voice of democracy, freedom of speech, now growing, even month by month, growing in China.
And so you believe you will see Tibet before you die?
Yes.
You do?
Yes, yes.
The Dalai Lama also said he was encouraged in his meeting with the president because Mr. Obama showed genuine concern, he said, about Tibet's struggle for human rights and cultural survival.